Hello everyone. Welcome to a new DMD Hangar team video tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to see how to integrate the multiplayer shooter system with Unreal Engine's Chaos Vehicle system. The most interesting part is that this workflow is universal. It can be applied to any pawn that isn't a character, allowing your vehicles, drones, or turrets to enter the combat system immediately. For this tutorial, we're going to start by using the Unreal Engine 5.7 vehicle template as an example. Our goal is to integrate the multiplayer shooter system core so your project has a solid combat system from the very first minute. The first thing we need to do is configure our project. To do this, we must activate two fundamental plugins, Common UI to ensure interface compatibility with gamepads, and Enhanced Input, essential for the input mapping our system uses. The next step is crucial for the shooting system. We need to add custom collision channels. First, we create an object channel called Projectile and set it to block. Then we add a trace channel called Laser, also set to block. These channels will allow both physical bullets and laser traces to interact correctly with the environment and enemies. Now it's time to bring all the multiplayer shooter system content into our project. To do this, we must migrate the DMD folder directly into our project's content folder. It's a simple but vital step to maintain all material and blueprint references. Remember that both projects must be on the same Unreal Engine version, in this case 5.7. This ensures there are no compatibility errors or data loss during the migration process. Once the content is migrated, we need to configure the Common UI plugin so the interface displays and functions correctly. To do this, we'll go to the project settings and add the blueprints that are already integrated into the multiplayer shooter system. These files are essential for the system to automatically recognize whether we are using a keyboard or a gamepad. Now, it's time to give our vehicle its combat capabilities. We'll go into our vehicle's blueprint and in the Components panel, we'll add the BPC shooter system component. This component is the brain of the entire shooting system and will handle weapon management, inventory, and combat logic. We are going to modify the shooting system variables so it's optimized to our liking. The most important thing is to tell the system that the actor is a vehicle. This will activate dedicated internal optimizations. We can add as many weapons as we want to the inventory to swap them in real time. It's ideal to lock hip firing and disable weapon collision detection and the ability to throw objects. This allows us to save unnecessary calculations and focus the system's power on pure combat from the vehicle. Additionally, we will enable the Equip variable, so the system understands the vehicle already has a weapon ready to use by default. It's time to add our weapon to the vehicle. You can add as many as you want and of any class you prefer, but keep one detail in mind. They will all fire at the same time. Also, the main UI will only display the details and ammo for the first weapon in your inventory list. As you can see, the shooting system works perfectly with our vehicle. From this point on, each project can have a different configuration that best suits its gameplay. To take this a step further, we are going to create a basic example of a vehicle equipped with a functional turret. The first thing we'll do is adjust the position of the vehicle speedometer. It's important to move it so it doesn't interfere with our shooting system HUD, making sure all critical information, such as ammo and weapon status, is clearly visible to the player. Since we are using two spring arms in the car, the shooting system might have trouble identifying which one is the third-person camera, as the system automatically detects the first one it finds in the actor. To fix this, we must re-add the first-person camera and ensure it is the second one in the component list. To make this change effectively, we're going to open the vehicle's parent class. This template has an event that constantly updates the camera orientation automatically, so we're going to delete it to gain full control. It will be necessary to modify the inputs. We're going to add the logic for camera movement on both the vertical and horizontal axis. This way, the mouse or joystick movement will directly control where our turret or mounted weapon is looking. Additionally, we will enable the Use Pawn Control Rotation variable in the component. which will allow us to rotate the camera freely around the vehicle to aim in any direction. We're also going to reset the camera lag to its default state, disabling it to avoid errors during sharp camera movements. By removing this delay, we will achieve immediate response and much more precision when firing. It will also be necessary to modify the camera's position to ensure the aiming line trace doesn't collide with the vehicle or the weapon itself. If the trace accidentally hits the chassis, it will negatively affect the turret's orientation, causing erratic rotations when trying to aim. Now we will implement a function to align the weapon's orientation perfectly with our crosshair. In this case, we are using the first weapon in the list since we only have one on the vehicle. However, if you decide to mount several, we recommend getting the midpoint of all the weapon barrels for much more precise orientation. We recommend clamping the camera rotation to have full control over how far the player can move the view. This will prevent the camera from clipping through the ground and, most importantly, stop the aiming system from accidentally colliding with a vehicle or weapon when trying to look at impossible angles. Of course, we can change the weapon crosshairs to make visual aiming much easier. You have the freedom to edit existing materials or create new ones to fit your vehicle's style. For this example, we will use the rifle's crosshair to save time and maintain a clear reference. Remember that the shooting system detects any actor that is damageable by default. Therefore, you might need to disable the can be damage variable on all actors that you don't want to take damage or react to the shooting system. This will give you total control over which elements on the map are destructible and which are not. And that's it. We now have a basic turret system fully integrated into our Chaos vehicle. As you've seen, thanks to the flexibility of the multiplayer shooter system, turning any pawn into a combat unit is a fast and clean process. Remember, you can join our Discord channel for more information. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you soon.